Hey, Brian, what's going on? Welcome.
Hey guys, how's it going? Thanks so much for inviting me. Great to be here.
Absolutely. Yeah, thank you for coming on. Good afternoon, Whale Coin Talk community. My name is Noah. I'm here today with Brian of Phantom Wallet. Brian, before we get started, do you want to give us a quick background of yourself, your career trajectory, and what piqued your interest in crypto and finally got you to dive into Web3?
Yeah, for sure. Awesome to be here today. Hey everyone, thanks for coming. Yeah, so I'm Brian. I lead developer relations at Phantom. Developer relations you can really think of as the touch point between all these dApp developers that are building on Solana. Now, as Phantom expands, also Ethereum and Polygon. We can get into that, but really being the touch point between those developers and the Phantom team for everything that they need. I got started in crypto. I want to say around like the class of 2017 wave. I worked for a small crypto fund out in the SF Bay area. I had like a software engineering background. And then during my time there, I just got really interested in what Solana was up to in particular. I thought they were building something really novel. I started to write some developer guides on Solana about 2 years ago, and that got me a little part-time gig on the side working with Chase Barker at Solana. And then through that experience, met the Phantom team, and the rest is history. So yeah, I've been with Phantom for about a year now.
Right on. And Brian, let's get started. Give us a quick high-level overview of Phantom Wallet. Actually, tell us what sparked your interests in Solana, first of all, because I know Phantom Wallet was initially built out for Solana, and curious to know what fundamentals of that ecosystem drew you in and ultimately led you guys to building Phantom Wallet.
Yeah, for sure. And I think my story actually dovetails pretty nicely with Phantom's founding story too. Very similar. Around the time of like, I want to say like the 2018, 2019 bear market, there was a lot of developers that came into crypto and were building, and most people built on Ethereum. And it was pretty much like settled done deal that like Ethereum, it was called like the EVM, like that's the place to be. And there weren't that many teams or like serious, I would say, like developers, mindshare, and other ecosystems. But when Ethereum scalability issues kind of came to rise, I'd say that like my interest in Solana kind of peaked around then. I was just looking for ways that could make crypto more useful for everyday people. I had a lot of friends and family that I always want to be kind of bringing into crypto, but it was just a non-starter for me to be like, hey, spend $20 on your first transaction. So I was more looking to see like what could be out there for really ease of use and low cost transaction fees. I think Solana had the most novel approach to that. Um, Basically eschewing everything with Ethereum, saying we're going to do something completely different. And at the time, people thought that was pretty crazy to give that a try. But I as a developer, I kind of wanted to poke around, kick the tires, see what was there. At the same time, the Phantom team, the three founders, Brandon, Chris, and Francesco, they were working in Ethereum for a leading project known as ZeroX. There, if you're familiar with them, they're like a big exchange, DeFi exchange aggregator, and they were noticing a lot of the same issues. They noticed that they were trying to build a consumer trading app. Essentially, it's called Matcha, and they knew that you know they knew that there was going to be experimentation of other chains. They knew that there were not enough people were paying attention to chains like Solana. They thought there was an opportunity, and in particular, their experience building an app, they saw that the wallet space was really just lacking from a consumer point of view at the time. Especially MetaMask at the time. It's just not very geared towards your first crypto experience. It's kind of more of like a developer power user wallet, I would say. So they also decided to leave and build Phantom and started on Solana. I think we both kind of had the same insight that, for crypto to grow, we need to get more everyday people experimenting with, making crypto fun and cheap and easy to use. And so that's kind of the founding story of Phantom. That's kind of how I ended up on Solana. That's kind of how this whole story starts.
Beautiful. And with that said, let's start the story. Tell us about Phantom's origins, and more so, what were some distinguishing features that you guys early on noticed weren't available in some of the other wallets that you integrated into Phantom and kind of distinguish yourselves from the rest of the pack?
Yeah, for sure. So I'd say like the big one, you know, at the time, most wallets, we're going back to like, early 2021 here. At the time, a lot has changed since then, but at the time, most wallets were either like you had a wallet where you would just store your assets in and you wouldn't do anything with them, or you had like a MetaMask where you go to an app and you go to like an OpenSea or a Magic Eden and you buy some NFTs. But the experience was like really clunky. You didn't really know what you're signing, and then like you maybe couldn't even see all of your NFTs in your wallet. Kind of just this broken, weird experience. So Phantom's like first key move was we're going to make a wallet that's usable. Like you're using this with apps every day. It's really easy to use, but also like we're giving a first class experience around things like DeFi. We're also giving a first class experience to NFTs. I think Phantom was really the first browser extension where you could actually just even see your NFTs in the wallet. And obviously, the wallet space has gotten so competitive since the lot's changed. We can talk about all the stuff that's happening there, but that's really the core thesis for Phantom is making something that's really safe, fun, easy, intuitive to use, but it's useful. You can use it with every app. Starting with Solana, and then now as we're expanding, we want to make it useful for anything that you're doing with your digital life. We want Phantom to basically be like your digital passport, your wallet that you can use on anything you're doing in crypto.
Okay, and so a first class experience around DeFi and NFTs. Do you mean, when you say this, do you mean that the Phantom wallet is able to connect to a wide array of DeFi applications and NFT protocols on Solana ultimately? And we'll see that happen on Polygon and Ethereum soon as well, right?
Yeah, for sure. But then it goes a step further too. So like, if you buy an NFT on Magic Eden, right? Like when your transaction history, you look at your wallet, will show like a very detailed view of like, hey, you bought, you know, uh, let's say like Ute number 1234 on Magic Eden for this amount. Whereas a lot of other wallets will just say like this was a random hex transaction, not very easy to understand. But then it takes it a step further because that's great if you're at your computer and doing all that. But the world's very it's going very mobile first, and people are on the go, and so we let you actually manage these NFTs in your wallet. From the wallet, you can list your NFTs. You get notifications when people bid on them. You can adjust your NFTs bids and do all that. Same thing goes similar for DeFi as well. When you're making these complex DeFi transactions, Phantom will actually do some advanced simulation around it and tell you exactly what you're about to sign. So, instead of saying, hey, this app's making me do this, transaction, I just hope it's going to work. We actually have a very advanced service that'll go through and look and know if this is a known program, if other people have done this before, what the expected outcome is if you sign this transaction. Just give it to you in plain English or whatever language you choose to use, and not overcomplicate things. If you want to lend $100, we're going to tell you you're going to lend $100 and show you how you did that. So that's kind of the core thesis, is just making things really simple and easy to understand.
Mm-hmm. And when you say that the transaction looks different on Phantom than it would on MetaMask, for example, can you dive into that a bit more? Like, are you explaining what each transaction is in layman's terms versus on MetaMask where it just says grant or reject or accept approval, and then reject or accept the transaction?
Yeah.
Optically, what's the difference?
Yeah, for sure. I think there's two things here. One is like at the time that you're making these actions, right? Like I'm gonna go to Magic Eden on my Phantom wallet. I'll also go on like a MetaMask wallet, and I'm gonna click buy. Like what actually happens then, right? So when Phantom, or when I guess when MetaMask pops up, you'll see stuff that some of it makes sense. Like maybe you're spending like X, in case MetaMask is like spend 2 ETH, right, or something like that. But then there's this weird, you see like some hex code, some stuff that looks like it's for a developer. When you show this to people who are new to crypto, a lot of times the first reaction is kind of like almost fear, because you're signing something that is a non-reversible transaction. It's going to cost you money, but they're not 100% sure what they're about to sign. So when that happens, Phantom pops up and presents something just very simple and clean. In red, we'll tell you what you're about to send or what you're about to lose access to, and then in green, we're going to say, hey, you're about to gain this NFT, or you're about to earn this amount of money from clicking this reward, and show that just very, very plain. And if you're a developer and you want to dive deeper into that, we can, there's a little advanced toggle we can get into that, where you can see all that kind of stuff. But really, we're building for the end consumer there. Then the flip side of that is that, okay, we made these actions, right? Now, a week goes by, I want to actually see my transaction history, what I actually did. On a lot of other wallets, they'll just link you out to a block explorer, right? And if you're not a blockchain developer, which there's a big shortage of blockchain developers out there, but most people, they go to these block explorers and they just don't know what to do. It's just kind of very confusing to them. In Phantom, we'll actually, right within the app, if you go to our transaction history page, we'll list out everything you did and make it very human readable. And so we'll say, hey, you actually spent this much SOL on, last Tuesday, you bought this NFT for this amount of SOL. And then you can go see what that NFT is like in your wallet. We'll actually show you, how much the floor price has changed since then, how much you're up. So all these kind of things tie in together to just give a much more cohesive user experience.
Beautiful. Okay, and you guys are now starting to expand to Ethereum and Polygon. I want to know how it works for people that have their funds on hardware wallets but might want to use Phantom's unique features. Is there any way to access funds or at least use Phantom while also keeping assets on a hardware wallet?
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, we can get all into what the multi-chain version of Phantom looks like. I actually have a beta code for everyone here today that I can share out towards the end of this chat. But yeah, we're big proponents of hardware wallets. I use one myself. A lot of people at Phantom use them. So basically, you could use Phantom just as the software wallet. The browser extension. We also have a mobile app. You can keep the funds there. But if you have your funds on a ledger, it's just as simple as connecting like you would with MetaMask. Phantom will automatically look through your ledger and say, hey, here's the accounts that you have with Ledger. We can auto import them for you. You can choose, actually, I don't want that one. I want this one, reorder your wallets, all that kind of stuff. But then it's just as simple as using every other app as you normally would. You'd go to your favorite site, you connect your wallet, Phantom would pop up. But then you would just have your Ledger connected. And then when it's time to send a transaction, Phantom will still simulate that transaction for you and show everything in, human readable form, really nice and easy, but then you'll have the final approval on your Ledger device that you can do like normal.
Okay, so very similar to MetaMask or Trust Wallet or Brave's new wallet. And how do you guys protect user privacy and ensure anonymity on the blockchain? I know it's a big thing for a lot of people that use these web wallets, and I want to know how you guys approach it.
Yeah, for sure. Privacy is probably one of the most important things to us. I think, just taking a step back, Phantom is an independent wallet company. So, we're not tied to some bigger organization like some of our competitors are. We don't have any competing interests here. At the end of the day, like, our users are the most important thing to us, and protecting their privacy is, along with their security, is the most important thing that we do. So we don't track things like individual IP addresses. We don't even track what coins are used by people. You can opt out of any sort of like in-app analytics. So if we're tracking like how many just total users we have, that's something we do in a completely anonymized way. We still give our users an option to opt out of that sort of stuff. So there's the privacy component of that. That's huge to us. We've also invested a ton in the security side of things as well, which is like keeping user funds safe. Happy to dive into all that as well. But I would say at a high level, it's the most important thing we do. Our users are everything to us.
Got it. It's good to know, and to know that there was maybe a bit of FUD around MetaMask a few months back about revealing user IP addresses or collecting user IP addresses. So glad to know there are options that don't do that. So for users that don't use hardware wallets, that spin up their own wallet through Phantom, hopefully write their private keys down on a piece of paper, don't store it on their phone. How are user funds protected, or what security measures are used in those situations?
Yeah, for sure. So I think, the biggest thing is Phantom is a non-custodial wallet. So we'll never have access to any of your funds there's a bit of responsibility that comes with using Phantom because, we'll help generate a secret recovery phrase for you, but we have no ability to see that secret recovery phrase or ever get it back to you. So, when you're using a wallet like Phantom or really any other non-custodial wallet, there's a lot of responsibility that comes with that. So I would say that, keeping that seed phrase safe, that secret recovery phrase safe, not accidentally, writing it on something that's like your Google Drive that gets shared. Not a big vector that we've seen too is like a site. You'll go to like a scam site on accident, and they'll say like, "Hey, your wallet's broken. You got to input your secret recovery phrase." And people unknowingly type in their whole secret recovery phrase and ended up sharing it with a bad actor. Like those are the most common ways that we see that people end up losing funds, and it really comes down to more about like the education side and showing people what they shouldn't be doing or how they should be keeping their stuff safe. That's the biggest thing. At the end of the day, the secret recovery phrase is not in Phantom's domain to control. But there's a lot we do on the side of, okay, then, you've got your secret recovery phrase written down. Now it's time to use your wallet. We do a lot of like scanning transactions to make sure that you're going to sign something safe. We also have like a really big block list I can go into about, known scam domains where we'll say like, hey, you're about to go onto a site that we know is a bad actor that's actively trying to drain users' funds. We're going to warn you, don't do that. But the secret recovery phrase is kind of like its own separate thing where that's a responsibility for taking that on. It's something we'd love to help, make easier. I think our thesis is at the end of the day, like part of security is making these things really, if it's easy to be secure, like that's the best way, right? If it's really hard to be secure, we gotta like, some people are like etching their secret recovery phrases into like metal or, having like doomsday bunkers for this kind of stuff. Like that's really hard for the average everyday person to do. One thing that we did is we partnered with 1Password, who's a password manager that some of you all might use, where if you're going through the onboarding flow with Phantom, there's like an auto save your secret recovery phrase in 1Password that's encrypted by 1Password. It's all done, but it's stuff like that we're looking at to try to make this kind of like one click, easy, simple to do. Yeah, that's security at a high level.
Beautiful. And wanted to talk about cross-chain interoperability and compatibility. You
For
guys
sure.
are launching the multi-chain beta is happening right now. I know you said you had a code. Whenever you want to share that, Brian, I can actually add it to the title of the space for people that are
Love it.
currently listening.
Yeah, it'll be easy for you guys. It's Whale Coin Talk, all one word, all uppercase. So if you have Phantom
Okay.
installed, you can punch it in settings. Both if you're on your mobile, there's a way for it to do it in settings. Same thing if you're on extension. If not, make sure you download Phantom from phantom.app. You can punch in a beta code from the install phase, and it's just Whale Coin Talk, all one word, all uppercase.
Beautiful. Thanks, Brian. Acti, if you don't mind adding that to the title for me. Brian, so tell me about this multi-chain beta. You guys are expanding to ETH and Polygon. Does this mean now that users can do cross-chain swaps between assets on Solana to ETH, assets on ETH to Polygon, Polygon to Solana? And what's that going to look like as far as slippage is concerned, as far as like ease of use is concerned? I'm really curious to learn more about all this.
Yeah, for sure. Well, there's no better way to learn about it than to give it a try with this beta code. But I'm happy to talk through kind of what our vision for this is at a high level. Like, Phantom right now gives this beautiful experience on Solana. There's a lot of, I'd say Solana has really proved itself as its own ecosystem. But you're right, it's kind of like this standalone experience where it's hard to move money between these two worlds, both Ethereum, even Polygon, and then Solana. So what we're starting with is you have this same Phantom experience that you're used to on Solana, but now you can now store and use apps and coins that are on NFTs that are on Ethereum and Polygon. So what do I mean by that? Basically, when you open up Phantom, all your stuff is in one place. So you'll see Solana, and then right below that, you'll see your Ethereum balance, your Ethereum, ERC20 coins that you have. Same thing with Polygon as well. If you flip over to the collectibles tab, if you own like a Bored Ape on Ethereum, that'll live right next to the DeGod that you own on Solana, or the Solana monkey business that you own on Solana. There's no user manual network switching here. There's nothing for the user to have to juggle. It's just basically like, here's all the crypto you own, and it's all presented to you simply in one unified interface here. Now, if you want to go to connect to a dApp as well, Phantom takes a lot of the same approach. So we don't necessarily, you don't have to worry about what network you're on with Phantom. When you connect once, it's actually possible. Phantom just considers you connected on all the chains that you're on. And so it's possible for a dApp, like an NFT marketplace like Magic Eden, where when we launch our multi-chain experience in the near future, you're going to be able to just connect once on an app like Magic Eden, and then buy an Ethereum NFT, and then buy a Solana NFT, and just be doing this, back to back, frictionless, and not having to worry about, oh geez, what chain am I on? I have to switch all this kind of stuff. Phantom basically handles all that complexity for you in the background. So that's where we're starting. To start right now, we do offer some some things like DeFi swaps in app. That's still going to be single chain for now, but we do have plans to make this a very easy experience for users to be able to take assets from one blockchain like Ethereum over to Solana. It's not here right now in the beta, but it's definitely our plans. And I think what we've seen from users too who have funds in Phantom on both Ethereum and Solana, they're like, gosh, I love having it all in one place. Now just help me, seamlessly move money between these two worlds. That's definitely something we're pretty excited about.
Mm-hmm. And when you said that, I think you brushed over this, but you said that if you're on a DeFi app that supports multiple chains, the Phantom wallet doesn't require you to switch between chains?
Correct. Yeah, exactly. So
wow.
I think the easiest way to conceptualize this and visualize this is with NFT marketplaces, because that just kind of makes the most sense. But it could happen to anything like a DeFi app as well. We're so used to a very single chain view world where if I go to something like a Magic Eden and I have let's list the NFTs. It's like I'm going to look first by Ethereum, then I'm going to toggle and I'm going to lose all those NFTs, and I'm going to show all the Polygon NFTs, and then I'm going to toggle and show all the Solana NFTs. There's no reason it has to be like that. It can be, I'm browsing just NFTs that I really like, and I see one I like. I don't necessarily care what chain that's on. I'm in it for the NFTs themselves. I'm viewing this. I really like, this art or this project on a particular, just happens to be on this chain. Phantom is just, you can do a one-click buy. We'll handle all the what network is it on in the background. The user never has to worry about that. And then we'll just present a very clean and easy experience saying, hey, you're about to buy this NFT. You're about to spend this much. Does this look good to you? Hit approve and it's done.
Brian, what chain is next? I know it might be under wraps, but I figure why not try to squeeze it out of you?
Yeah, I'm not. We definitely aren't going to stop here, is what I'll say. But we're going to make sure that we provide a really good experience around Solana, Ethereum, and Polygon before we go forward. I'd say those three ecosystems have really proven themselves as each independently really strong, has unique, offerings, and it's going to stand the test of time here. And we want to make sure that whatever chain we support, it's done in a really first-class way. Something we really didn't love building on Ethereum was like, hey, it's I got to add like a different chain in MetaMask. It's like pulling teeth. You got to find these like weird RPC URLs you're pasting in. You're going into these fields. It feels like a very broken experience, and not something that's so easy you could get a kindergartner to do. So whatever we do, it's going to be done in the same way where it's basically done really cleanly. You never have to worry about it. But we're focusing on these three chains for now. But I'd say that stay tuned. There's definitely plans for other chains in the future.
Fair enough. And it does look like you guys went to the top two, apart from Solana, the top two NFT ecosystems. So if people wanted to speculate, you can go to DeFi Llama and kind of look at what the next chain is in line for NFT activity. I have a audience member, Brian, that has a question. I'm going to pass the mic to him, and then I'll come back with some more.
Yeah, sounds great.
Rahmat, go for it, man.
Yeah, thank you, Noah. I have few questions. Okay, so I have read in a blog section, and you also talked about that you have created an open source community maintained blacklist or block list of these malicious domains. So I want to understand that based on what parameters is any DApp or a malicious domain linked to any Web3 project added to the block list? And are all the new projects launched on the blockchain that are supported by the Phantom go through vetting?
Yeah, I didn't quite get the end of your second question, but I'll talk. I heard the first part about the block list, so I'll talk a bit about that. There's a couple things that I think tie into this, and I think starting at a high level, like the goal is that when users are signing things with Phantom, we really want to provide an intuitive experience where they know it's something that's safe. So the block list is one component of that. The main component is we work with this organization called Blowfish. That's they're 100% focused on like just in time of when you have a transaction scanning it. Basically, they can simulate the transaction as if they're going to sign it themselves and figure out what's going to happen if I sign this exactly. And there's a few things that are kind of very known patterns when you sign transactions. Where like, hey, you might be signing something that's going to give this DApp the approval to spend all your money at a later point in time, right? And for some wallets, when they simulate that, they just see the balance change that's going to happen as soon as you sign it, and they're like, "Hey, you didn't lose any funds. That's great." But they didn't know that, 2 days from now, this DApp could have access to then steal all your money. And so that's something that we simulate up front. We'll show you like, "Hey, this is really bad. If you sign this, are you sure that this is actually what you want to do? Because we've seen this before. This is how scams happen." So we're very proactive in showing that to users. Um, One part of this as well is the block list that you mentioned, where we have this open source repo. It's the largest repository of known scam sites on Solana, and it's used by a number of other wallets, not just Phantom, but we maintain it. And so part of that is done in a bit of an automated process where if we detect that, a lot of times people will send like scam NFTs and try to get users to visit these sites. And usually it's around some sort of promotion like, hey, you better hurry up because it's, you can sign this thing now because, you won money and you're about to, this offer is about to expire. And if a lot of people go there and we simulate, hey, this is a scam transaction, and we warn these people, we get kind of alerted to that and we can add them to this site so that just up front when a user visits it, Phantom just says, hey, this is known that something fishy is going on here. Now, it's not always 100% perfect, right? Like we're humans too. We're prone to error. So it's an open source repository. If for some reason we make a mistake and it's a legitimate site, it's pretty easy to just open an issue on that GitHub repo, and we'll manually review it and we can reverse it. But I'd say it's done a lot of it's done a lot more good. We don't have a lot of false flags on it. I'm actually looking at some stats now. We've stopped about since we started doing this just middle last year, we stopped about 18,000 wallets from signing transactions that drained all of their funds. So that's basically saving 18,000 users from losing all their money. And then we've taken down 69,000 sites that were known to be malicious.
Yeah, understood. Okay, I've also read in the blog section that users can report spam NFTs right inside of the Phantom wallet, and the spam filter learn from the NFTs reported by the users. It got me thinking that what if users are reporting any NFT as a scam, which is not actually a scam? So how will you preventing this?
Yeah, for sure. I'd say that there's a couple things here, like it's in app. We have the ability to manage your NFTs, where you don't just view your NFTs. You can search them for them. You can hide the ones you don't like. You can burn some ones on Solana and recoup some fees, and you can pin the ones that you love. And part of that, like you brought up, is a lot of times some people are realizing they can airdrop pretty spammy NFTs to people. It's kind of annoying to see them in your wallet. So we'll let users just select that NFT and hide it, and we won't show it for them. And if it's a pattern that we're noticing a lot of users doing on a big scale, then we'll learn from it and we'll start to auto hide it. Now, I'd say part of the benefit of Phantom is we're operating at a pretty large scale. We have 3 million total users. we're able to see these trends at a really big level. So if there's one or a couple of individual users who are trying to be mischievous and are hitting hide NFTs on some well-known collections that try to hide them from other people, like it won't happen on a big enough scale for that to impact the models that we use. We do have some process in place too for manual review on a pretty steady occasion of like what are we blocking and what are we blocking that have a large holder base, so we can review that. But in general, it's something that the spam far outweighs the number of good projects that get accidentally blocked by this. So it's a model we refine over time, but we're pretty excited about it because at the end of the day, people want to be able to open their app and see the NFTs that they love.
Yeah, it makes sense. Okay, I was also wondering, do Phantom Wallet maybe enable users to send and receive messages on their wallet addresses, or maybe send a message with a transaction?
Yeah, so right now we don't have in-app messaging. There's a number of other apps that are exploring this. We think it's a really cool space. It definitely feels like that is something that is crypto native and is going to probably come to Phantom at some point. I think what we're trying to really be careful of is, as the wallet, you have a really big responsibility of keeping users safe. And when you open up an avenue for just any random people to start messaging you, and directly to your wallet as well, where there's irreversible transactions, we want to make sure before we open up that sort of functionality that we do so in a really safe way. So I'd say it's on our radar. We think it's really interesting. Same thing with notifications as well. But there's not immediate plans for it as of right now.
Got it. Okay, I also want to know that is the Phantom Wallet based on the open source code of the MetaMask or Trust Wallet, or you have developed your own source code for Phantom Wallet?
Yeah, we've developed our own source code from scratch. Early in the day, I want to give a shout out. There was a wallet called Solid that most of the wallets on Solana kind of originated from. So if you want to look at kind of like the base functionality for how wallets can work on Solana, that's a great repository of work. But since then, Phantom has pretty much rewritten our wallet entirely from scratch, especially for multi-chain, to be able to support multiple chains at once.
Got it. Okay, final question. So some DApps and websites can track the user IP address when the wallet is connected to them. So it got me thinking that will Phantom Wallet also be developing any built-in VPN so users can hide their IP address when connecting with any DApp or domain that tracks users' IP address?
Yeah, this is an interesting question. I think, it comes down to like what's the wallet's role in preserving user privacy. At the end of the day, if users want to use VPNs with Phantom, they're totally welcome to. I think a big vector that we've noticed in particular for something that's kind of more in our control is if you get airdropped NFTs, and this is getting a bit technical, like it's actually possible for the person airdropping them to maybe see the IP address of the user, and that's a flow that happens fully in Phantom. So what we do is we use an image proxy on our side that blocks that. So essentially, when you're viewing NFTs or interacting with NFTs in Phantom, we're preserving your privacy from the people who are actually dropping these NFTs to you. So I think that's the stance we're going to continue to take, is things that are within the realm of the wallet's control. We're going to always, lean towards protecting your privacy and protecting your security. Things that you happen to do outside of Phantom with Phantom, we're going to leave. That's, a responsibility that's up to you.
Yeah, it makes sense. Thank you so much for answering. Over to you, Noah.
Yeah, thanks for the great questions.
Yes, Ed, great questions. And let's go to Captain Levi next. I think you might be having some connection issues. Captain Levi, you there? All right, let me bring up another community member. Got unknown error on the mic. Funny name. Go for it, man. Unknown error. Go for it. Mike's yours, man.
Oh, sorry, I just got promoted to speaker. So I guess I still have a question on encryption. As long as your connection is 100% monitored, and as long as you have a shared connection point to a platform, it doesn't matter if you're encrypted or not. If somebody's in place to monitor your ISP connections, they can gather every encryption key you have.
I'm not sure what the context of the question is, but yeah, I mean, if you're using sites, on the internet, it's up to you to preserve your privacy in that respect. So yeah, if you want to use a VPN, then for sure. I was more referring to in-app with Phantom, what the steps that we take to not, as Phantom, to not track your IP, and then also the steps that we take to preserve your privacy when you're interacting with NFTs within Phantom.
Yes, and ensuring VPN usage and like even secured domain name lookup, right? But if you're living in a country that copies all your traffic, that's the big risk to me, and that may be an unfair question.
Yeah, I mean, there's only I definitely think being aware of these things as an end user, like I would totally advocate for that as well. There's what we can control as a wallet, we will always do our best to preserve your privacy in that respect for what we can control. But like you bring up, if you're living in countries with surveillance internet, that's a responsibility that ultimately comes to you and how you interact on the internet.
Right on. Thank you for the question / comment. Unknown error. I guess if you're online 24/7, you're not fully private ever, but you can take the proper measures to try to keep your data and your identity as concealed as possible. I don't know. I'm not a tech guy, but it was an interesting comment. Captain Levi, I know you're trying to reconnect and come up and ask a question. Let's try your mic again. So, while he tries to connect, Brian, I'm curious to know if there are any developments coming up that aren't public but aren't under wraps and you can share with us. Any exciting sneak peeks to Phantom products in the near future?
It's a good question. I'd say that the multi-chain version of Phantom isn't just multi-chain. So when you check it out, there's a lot of really cool features in there that if you're also a Solana user of Phantom, you're going to be able to get. So part of this is around like being able to customize your wallets, add like NFT profile pictures to your wallets, drag and drop reordering. I think I mentioned search and burn, hide, pin NFTs. There's a lot there that, along those themes that I think we'll continue to build on, but I'd say give out the beta code a try. You'll probably, if you're already an existing user of Phantom, you're going to be really pleasantly surprised with some of the features there. And then, yeah, if you want to hint at some further roadmap, it goes along a lot of the same lines there, just making the in-wallet experience something that's really fun and easy and intuitive, especially around NFT management and around using apps like DeFi apps and seeing your balances.
I've never used Phantom before, and thanks to your promo code Whale Coin Talk, I'm going to be using it and
I love it.
Trying to mess around with it. I don't swap too much. Like I did a deep dive into you guys before the AMA, but I don't typically use apps to swap, and I don't typically swap at all. I'm more of just like a buyer and long-term hodler. Let's go to Captain Levi again. Let's give him one more try.
All right. Can you guys hear me now?
Yes.
Yep.
Finally. Sorry about that, guys. Okay, so I actually do have a few questions. With the first, you actually talked about your passwords earlier. You made mention of the fact that you actually have a password keeper service. So I really didn't get that. I wanted asking about this password keeper service. Is it end-to-end encrypted? That's by I think you get the concept of end-to-end encryption. That's I am the only one that actually knows it. Their work is to keep it and not see what the password is through some hashing procedures.
Yeah, for sure. So I think what your question was about the section where we were talking about, what happens when you get a secret recovery phrase or a seed phrase, if you've heard that term before, and how's it used. So the key point to drive home is Phantom never stores this. So, the point about end-to-end encryption, that doesn't apply to Phantom. We help you generate it, but we never see it again after that. And it's up to you to determine how you want to store and use that. The one thing that we did do is we partnered with a password manager called 1Password that's pretty well known, and they have a solution that if you choose to use them, it's end-to-end encryption on their side, where they can store it on your behalf, and then when it's time to use that in Phantom or some way, if you need to restore a wallet, another wallet, you have this saved in a really secure way, but you're not having to juggle the recovery phrase yourself. So that's an integration with a partner that we did. But at the end of the day, Phantom generates the seed phrase for you at the time of sign up, but it's a non-custodial wallet. We don't actually store that for you.
Okay, that's actually nice. So there's a feature, I wouldn't want to call the name. So there are cloud provider services that actually have this feature where a one-time key could be used to open a missing account. They will actually tell you to provide this one-time key. Once it's copied, you can't really get it back. Do you guys are they planned? What do you think is the risks involved? Are you guys actually incorporating this? In the event where I do not see my seed phrase, I use that one-time key.
Yeah, I'm not too familiar with that one-time key solution. At the end of the day, the seed phrase that you get when you create a Phantom wallet is the same kind of seed phrase that you can use with any other wallet, like a MetaMask or a Trust wallet. And the same applies backwards too. If you create a MetaMask wallet, a lot of people here, OG Ethereum users might have MetaMask wallets from way back in the day. You can actually just input that same seed phrase in the Phantom, and all your assets will appear, but they'll just be in Phantom's really nice UI. So seed phrases at the end of the day are kind of their own thing. They're kind of the ultimate source of truth. So I'd say if you don't see your funds with the seed phrase, you probably didn't save your seed phrase correctly. But that is something that at the end of it, that's the most important thing to keep secure, and the wallet doesn't have control over that.
Right, Brian. Okay, so my next question is concerning the facts about an integration with centralized exchanges. I think when I want to transfer some funds from my Trust wallet, I think there's a new feature that Binance, I don't know if they did some collaboration where I can actually, directly send funds from my Binance wallet straight to my Trust wallet. Are there any plans to do something similar?
Yeah, for sure. We actually have that integration live in Phantom today with Coinbase Pay, and we're always open to other exchanges as well. But essentially, if you have your Phantom wallet, there's a section where you can not only send crypto to your wallet, but you can also hit a little buy button. And there's two ways to go about doing this. One, if you don't have crypto anywhere, you could buy crypto directly with MoonPay, and it just would get deposited to your Phantom wallet right away, so you can skip the whole centralized exchange process. But the other is with Coinbase Pay, where a lot of people have Coinbase accounts, and if you have a Coinbase account, you can connect that. You can open up Phantom and say Coinbase Pay, and then hey, here's my Coinbase account. Do a one-time setup for that, and then you'll be able to actually withdraw funds from Coinbase's platform into Phantom without having to juggle all these different windows and going into their exchange. So we do have that built in, and we're always open to hearing what users want for other exchanges as well.
Well, that's that's actually awesome and really good to hear. I think I do not have any other questions. I actually was thinking about one now, but I just lost my train of thought. So as soon as I remember it, I'm going to check back. I really appreciate detailed answers to my questions, Brian, and wish you
Yeah.
guys the very best. And I hope that Phantom continues to stay bullish onward. Over to you, Noah.
Thanks a lot. Yeah, and if you have questions, feel free to afterwards. Feel free to tweet at me. I'm happy to answer them. No, I don't know if you're on mute and you're trying to talk.
Yep, just talking for the last 10 seconds and no one can hear me. Sometimes that mic button bugs out on Spaces, man. I swear I hit it. Guys, Brian's kindly shared the promo code Whale Coin Talk. It lets you get early access to Phantom's cross-chain capabilities, multi-chain world of Matic and their Polygon and Ethereum and Solana. So definitely go and try that out. Brian, is there a certain time period that this is going to be active for?
I would say that the code, you would want to use it sooner rather than later. We're getting a lot of inbounds about people wanting to upgrade. So and there is a limit to these codes. So if you want to experience the multi-chain wallet, definitely give it a try soon. I know the Phantom account's been tweeting out some codes pretty regularly as well. So for whatever reason, if this one doesn't work, you can put the Phantom account on notifications, and you'll see probably one come out in the next day or two as well.
Right on. Super exciting. Hey, look, Brian, thank you so much for coming on today. Really appreciate it. If there's anything about Phantom Wallet and all the exciting stuff that you guys are building that I didn't ask about or you might have skipped over, go ahead and share it with us now. Otherwise, share some final thoughts with our community before you head out.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks so much for coming on. This is some really great questions. Huge audience here. Love to see everybody. I'd say the big thing is, hey, if you're using crypto and you don't love your current wallet's experience, give Phantom a try. We're able to do everything that a wallet like MetaMask can do. We can interact with actually any dApp that MetaMask interacts with. So if this beta period, if you're looking around and you're saying like, gosh, I don't see the Phantom button anywhere. If you have the Phantom multi-chain version installed, you can actually just hit MetaMask and Phantom will work with it. It's because we built Phantom in a way that's backwards compatible and it can actually work everywhere. So don't shy away from using it for lack of compatibility. It's compatible everywhere. If there's a favorite dApp that you want Phantom to be integrated with, tweet at that dApp, tweet at me with that too, and we'll get it integrated. But yeah, we're super excited for this. We think that really the wallet is the biggest bottleneck really in crypto, and trying to make this something that's easy to use for everyday people. We want this to be the wallet, for the everyday people that can use crypto in a really fun, safe, and easy way. So get trying the multi-chain version and let us know your thoughts.
Right on. Thank you again, Brian. Whale Coin Talk community, you're listening to another episode of The Aquarium. My name is Noah. Remember that everything you hear on this broadcast is meant for educational purposes only. Nothing is financial advice, so be safe out there. We got one more Twitter space coming up on the day with Gelato, so stay tuned for that in an hour. Take care.
Thanks, guys.